Hello and welcome back to the ILTV News Podcast. I'm Maayan Hoffman, Executive Editor of ILTV, and we're happy to have you back, our viewers and our listeners. So I have with me today Moran Samun, an Israeli attorney, a certified mediator, and an ADHD coach. Welcome, Moran.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful,
Thank you.
of course. So, I just named a lot of hats. They don't necessarily seem like they would fit together. Attorney, mediator, ADHD coach. Which role do you feel is most you and why?
Well, I feel that I'm all of that, but if I have to choose one, it's going to be the mediator because it combines my abilities in the law area and the understanding and the emotions from the ADHD coach. So instead of just arguing in front of court, I build bridges between people who can't see eye to eye anymore. So mediator is going to be my answer for that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, you've been in this family law for over 20 years, but your approach is very different than most lawyers. What inspired you to blend this legal work with the emotional work and the ADHD?
When you say 20 years, it sounds a lot. It's a lot, but I've never fit the traditional lawyer mold. Never. So I think that think different is the way of life for me, and this is why I always study and trying to find new ways and new tools to help my clients, the firm's clients, and through that, the other people who get through divorce and especially hard conflict divorces, but also inheritance and other family law areas.
And the ADHD came into the legal practice then in order to help the clients?
Well, the ADHD came because of my recognition of my ADHD.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with ADHD thanks to my son. So, yeah, they're the best teachers when you want to learn from. So, after I was diagnosed, I tried to get skills and tools to help myself. And through that, I discovered the whole world of ADHD and the influence it has on family and couples. And this is why ADHD is not only a small niche, it's way, way wider than that. Did you know that almost 70% of divorce cases has one or two partners with ADHD?
Really?
And with every family who's got only one child with ADHD, they don't have to have more than that. They have 3 times more chance to get a divorce than a regular family. So with these conditions and the understanding that the divorce and separation in Israel are the rate of 45%, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, and this is why we need to have a different approach to them.
And you were also divorced as well, right? So that you have ADHD and you've been divorced. So tell me about that.
Okay, so before I was diagnosed with ADHD, I got a divorce. And through that proceedings, I understood that it's not enough to have the legal issues. You need to have the emotional, the insight, emotional tools to understand the proceeding, because divorce is one of the greatest and biggest crises within person's life. It's like an umbrella crisis. It goes through your work and how you perceive yourself and your place within the family, friends, everything. And when it affects all these areas, you need to have special tools to handle this. It's not only a family case that you go to court with. It's a whole person that you need to give them tools in order to proceed from this crisis with strength and abilities.
And after going through your own divorce and then your discovery of ADHD, and now you work with so many couples and so many clients, how do you get through every day hearing about other people's challenges when you've had your own, now you're dealing with it? It seems like it would be a very difficult endeavor.
One of the questions that I get a lot is, do you take your work at home to home?
Yeah.
So I try not to, but first of all, my partner and the children are very grounding base in my life. But other than that, every morning I have like a quick mental check-in, see what is my focus on today, what are the things that I can control and can control, and focus on the things that I can control. Because when you handle people crises all day long, and with the environment that we have in the country today, people can crumble and it demoralized. So in order to be effective this way, I specialize my first few minutes on the day to focus on what I can control.
And you also have a very interesting motto for your company. Think different, act different, get a different results. Can you explain that and maybe share a story that demonstrates that philosophy going into action?
First of all, this is the firm's philosophy, but this is the way of life for me. And Einstein said it before. If you act the same way and expect different results, this is the definition of insanity. And the divorce crisis and family crisis is special, but divorce crisis is very hard on people. So if they act the same way they acted in the marriage, the result will be the same. And we want to have different results. This is why we are approaching this crisis differently. So we see what makes people act the way they act, what are the triggers, and how to avoid them. We are giving them tools to how to react towards the other side and the children. And we make them, the clients, have best decision they can have in the court and outside the court because of that.
So it's really interesting. So are you coaching them not only through the divorce procedure, but also what will happen afterwards?
Yeah. When they have the mediation, when we talk about it in a few minutes, but when they have a mediation process with me, the last stage is follow-up, 3 months of follow-up. So the words will not only be on the paper, they will be in life. And we are helping them go through the crisis with the reassurance that there is somebody that can help them with afterwards.
Wow, it's amazing. I mean, I'm also divorced, and hearing this is very different than the process that I went through and probably most people's processes. I do want to take a step back just for 1 minute because you mentioned 2 stats that I think I want to unpack real quick. One is that you said that in almost every divorce, at least one of the couples, or in 70, what did you say?
70%, almost 70% of the divorce cases, one of two partners has ADHD.
How did you learn that statistic? And is that in every country, just in Israel?
Well, for the last 7 years, I've been researching the field of ADHD and the influence it has on family and couples and parenthood. And I learned that it's genetics. It's go through the generations and doesn't skip generations. So if you have a child, even if it's one child with ADHD in the family, it's most likely that one of 2 of his parents has ADHD. Yeah. So the statistics is very obvious and nobody is talking about it. So when somebody is acting aggressively, people only see the aggressive side. They don't see the flaunting, the misunderstood of the situation. Or when somebody is talking loudly or very rude, nobody is seeing the fear or the misunderstanding of the situation. So this is why I decided to form a committee in the Israeli Bar Association that help ADHD people who are in the legal system through all the areas of the legal system.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then the 45% that you mentioned in Israel, there's about a 45% divorce rate, you said?
In Israel, there are 45% of divorces and separation because not everybody is getting married through the rabbinical court. Actually, in the U.S., is 54% of divorce and separation. So they have higher rates of separation over there. And the ADHD field there is less known as it in Israel.
Interesting. Yeah, that's what I wanted to know is how does Israel kind of measure up? The U.S. is one of the higher countries, I think, with the divorce rate.
Yeah.
In comparison to other countries in the region, are we higher, lower?
We are high, but not higher. But the divorce rate is lower, but ADHD diagnosis is higher. Okay, we have what we call in Israel overdiagnosis, ADHD. So we have that in the U.S. also, but in Israel we see that with children in schools and students and so on. But the real thing is after you finish studying, because ADHD affects all areas of life. It's the impulsivity and the lateness, missed meetings, not knowing how to act or plan or do anything that is the executive functions, the basic executive functions in their life. So it affects the communication. It affects how they perceive themselves, mostly in the lower bar. And it affects how they communicate with others because, in the first place, they hear things different than other people are talking to them. So it's one of the biggest complex that I have in family, because once you have one person with ADHD and he speaks a different language, and you have another one, the whole family is ADHDers because they speak different languages. This is why they have most miscommunications and fights and all that.
You can see why that would then lead, of course, to divorce. Now, you created the C.S.C. Mediation Method, Connection, Security, Calm. Walk me through what that actually looks like when you're in the room.
Well, as you said, it's the connection, security, calm. So first of all, we're making the safe place. This is the security, the safe place that they can talk inside the room with no surprises and no attacks. And then we have the connection between them. Sometimes when we need to rebuild the trust between the people, we make separate sessions, and then we have mutual ones, and this is how we rebuild the trust between them. And the third part is the calm. We are taking our time to take good decisions that will match the family, their needs, and their emotion struggles. So this is basically a very methodical approach towards family crises, especially divorce crises. And today it's not only for ADHD people. We have like PTSD people that comes back from the war, and actually the whole environment in the country, everybody is acting a little bit like they have ADHD, short temper, lateness. So as a lawyer, I'm giving them the legal structures, and ADHD coach, I'm giving them the understanding, and together they have the solution inside the courtroom. And it's based on the focus model.
Right, which I also wanted to ask about, but just to go, before you get into the focus model, just give me like a concrete example of what that might look like in the case of, mediating a final divorce agreement, maybe for somebody with a child coming with a parenting agreement, something like that.
Well, the first couple that I remember was a couple who came and they were sure they're not going to be able to sit in the same room together. Very sure about that. So instead of forcing them negotiation, I started with very short sessions with everyone separate. And after 3 or 4 sessions, short ones, we had the mutual ones. And after 3 months, they signed an agreement with a smile. But it's because they decided to do the work. They are not afraid of hard work. They understand that they understood then. They had to go through a mediation and the coaching for ADHD in order to have a new communication tools. The communication that they had before didn't work. This is why they are getting a divorce. We need to find a new way to communicate. So they have these communication molds that I made them. This is part of the proceedings. And they have to stick with this. And it makes them be sure that the message is going through, but without the ickiness, all the emotions and all the bad feelings that they have towards each other. When you have the smalls, it makes you be very direct and very focused. After 3 months, they signed on the agreement, and I think they're using the agreement today also. And the other example that I can tell you about is there something that happened in the last few months. A couple after divorce came to me after the last several times that the husband came back from the front. He's got ADHD and PTSD. So his reaction, his behavior triggered the mother. And she started to behave from her fear, and it was affecting the children, actually, both of them, because they started to see the father as the mother is. So they came to me in order to have a new arrangement for the visitation rights. And through the proceeding of this mediation, they came back to the original, but with new tools, original scene, but with new tools. New communication tools and new borders in order for them to work on. So I'm very happy.
Does it ever happen that as you're going through this process and people are developing these new tools that couples stay together instead of divorcing?
Actually, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. One time in the last year, there was this couple who came. They said, okay, we love each other, but we know we have to separate because we don't fit. Okay? We don't fit. I like organized home. She's messy. I like everything neat. She doesn't know how to handle money, and I like to handle money. You know, all the differences. But they sat together in my room, and they hold hands. So I asked them if it's final for them. And when I saw that they're hesitating, I just opened the opportunity that it is an option to write the agreement with staying together or divorcing. So after, I think it was 2.5 months, we had like a whole agreement that he came back home. They went to actually an ADHD parental guidance that helped them be a better parents and got the tools from her. And through that, they actually improved their communication. So I think they are still together. Otherwise, I would have heard something. But yeah.
Wow, what a great story. So now you mentioned this focus mediation model. Is that what you're speaking about now, or is that also something addition?
Yeah. The focus model is the basic of the C.S.C. Mediation. And it's the 5 steps that we need to have in order to proceed this mediation. So the framework is like we are knowing what is the triggers, we are understanding the triggers, we are trying to get a solution for the trigger in order not to trigger anybody. And then through these solutions, we are going through the needs of the family, the specific needs of the family, instead of the process asking the families to manage themselves. We are managing the process through and around the family. So the solutions are ones that they have with a free choice. Instead of court, when you are hiding behind the other party, the lawyers, the judges, here you have to take a stand. You can't hide behind anything, but for people with ADHD and for most people, having a responsibility for your choice is the best thing for you in order to get a control of your life. And this is what most people need, a control feeling, stability. So focus mediation, focus model makes them finding the solution through the triggers and getting a better communication within the family through that.
And, I'm just thinking about when you get divorced. So there's mediation, and as you mentioned, there's court.
Yeah.
Do you usually do mediation, I guess, before you go to court is the goal, and to stay out of court, correct?
Well, first of all, the misconception, the biggest misconception of mediation, that it's soft, it's less than a court, but it's the opposite. It needs to be with a lot of courage. People with courage go to mediation because they have to take responsibility for their actions, for their choices, and for the way that they're handling themselves. So in court, you don't have any responsibility for anything. It's like, okay, judge, take the decision. It's yours. And this is the big the difference between the court and the mediation.
The mediation, are you the one mediator for the couple, or do they still bring lawyers to the session?
It's a great question, because most of the time I'm the mediator without lawyers. Wow. And they can consult lawyers outside the mediation room. Uh-huh. I think adding lawyers to the mediation room, it brings the conflict, not lower them. So I rather not having lawyers inside my room, but I more than welcome, and I actually tell them to go and consult a lawyer to see if the solution that we have is fair, is the one that stands with the rights. And because as a mediator, I am not looking for saving anybody's rights. I'm looking for the best solution for the family and her needs and its needs. So that doesn't have to be even. It's mostly it's creative solutions for the family. So they need to consult a lawyer of their own.
And do people who have been divorced sometimes come to you afterwards when they already have an agreement and say, we want to rework our agreement?
Yeah, sometimes. The couple with the PTSD that I told you about, they had an agreement. They've been divorced for like 4 years. And the problem started now, after he came back from the front.
Right.
So they need to adjust their life to the situation that has occurred. And they are smart people, because it could easily go to police and court and a social worker and the whole shebang. But they decided to be responsible for their lives. They came to me, they got parental guidance that is especially for ADHD. And when you have ADHD and PTSD, you feel everything in extreme, actually. Right. So when you're happy, you're happy. When you're upset, you're upset. So they need to have special tools, or the ones that are good for them.
Do other people think like you? I mean, this whole concept of combining the ADHD coaching, or the knowledge behind it, with the legal, are there others that we can find either in the country or in the world that are doing the same thing?
The short question is no.
Wow.
Actually, I think there's only one that I know in the U.S. Who is a lawyer and an ADHD coach, and he handles most in children, custody and stuff. But there is no other lawyer and mediator and ADHD coach that combines all of them together and have a special method. And this is a special and unique specialty that we have in the firm. It makes me very happy. Yeah. But I think that the more the awareness is going to be higher, the more lawyers are going to find this field of expertise very interesting. So I'm looking forward to that.
And when you say the firm, are there other lawyers working with you then in this? People that have trained like you now at this point?
They are not trained like me. Okay. I'm training them to work with me. Okay. But I'm working. I'm in the front of the law firm. We have lawyers, and outside the law firm we have ADHD coach, parental guidance, CPOs and other specialties that we need to have in order to give the whole package to the clients.
Yeah.
So we're working with other special person in the law area and other areas. Yeah.
And I mean, divorce is obviously, as you mentioned, one of the most painful life events. Certainly touches, as you said, so many aspects of people's lives. What advice would you give to someone who's about to start that divorce journey?
First of all, don't rush. Don't rush into going into court and submitting a dispute request. Try to stay calm for a second, because all the people around you are having very, very, very good advices, but are not always good for you, okay? So try to stay calm. Go and have a professional consultation, parental guidance or emotional guidance, because you can go through this divorce crisis without getting tools, emotional tools. It's like putting a Formula One driver in Subaru and asking him to win the race. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So get emotional tools, get a lawyer, and especially get the way that will maintain your energy and dignity, because they are the only one who's going to last after this is going to pass. And it shall pass like everything else. So you need to work through this process in order to get out stronger and better than
And
you
I'm
were.
assuming that when you finish the mediation, though, it does get submitted to the courts in order to get signed and ratified.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, yeah. That makes sense.
We are going with them to the court. The judge is giving it a clearance, and it becomes a verdict. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And you said that every crisis, is a turning point. And as you just mentioned, you want to come out further ahead, when this is over. Can you share a moment in your own life or your work that has really proved that that's a good philosophy?
Well, the year I got divorced, I also left my partner in law, in the law firm. So I got divorced twice at the same year, at work and at home. It was very hard, and I actually start from scratch. I built myself from scratch, and it was a long process, very painful process, but I was very determined to go through it. And through that, I managed to have my law firm to be one of the successful law firms in Israel for the last 9 years, in Dun & Bradstreet and BDI. And I became the sole attorney who handles ADHD crises within the family and outside the family. So it makes me very happy that the whole process came into one good goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it helps me help people go through their crises to their better than I was before, because I went through what they are going through. I know how they feel. I know how they act. I know why they act the way they act, and I know how to help them. So I'm happy I have the chance to do that.
Sure. So we're going to run out of time, but I want to ask you, one more question. Let's just say that you could wave a magic wand. You could make one change to the Israeli legal system. Let's end with that. What would it be and why?
Wow. If I had a magic wand, I would have told the Israeli government to make the mediation, but not the formal one that they have today, that the dispute request that they have, that they're going to the mediation only for one session. Nobody's hearing them. Nobody's telling them what to do. And afterwards, they're not supposed to go through that. So the actual mediation, the one that helps them see the other party and to get a solution, this one I would love for the Israeli government to put inside the
to require it
Yeah.
before you go through the
Yeah.
dispute. Sure. Well, Moran, thank you so much for joining today. I think that our viewers have certainly learned a lot, and definitely it's a positive way in some sense to look at divorce. So I really thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's a big crisis, but it's a huge step towards success and growth. Right. So I hope the people are listening will join us in this way of handling crises within the family. And thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you.